Welcome to Professionally Speaking Toastmasters. This video shows an example of some prepared speeches given in recent meetings.
The United States was born in conflict. The founders pledged their sacred honor and duty and lives to protect the Constitution, to develop the Constitution of the United States. And you know what is at the very beginning of the Constitution? Article 1, Section 2 talks about enumerating the population. They thought it was so important, they put it right at the beginning. The census was ordained nearly at the very beginning, and in 1790, the first one was done, and it's been done 24 times since then. It doesn't happen that often. Now, I retired in 2018, walked my dog for a living, and this turned out to be very good training for the census. This year, I got a notice in the mail saying, if you're interested, sign up. I did. Most people in the beginning, most people were very cooperative, but as the weeks progressed, it became more and more challenging to get answers. My track record was pretty good. And so they assigned me to this strike force team that was ready and prepared to deploy or to travel at a moment's notice. One Saturday morning, I was waiting for my car at Jiffy Lube. I got a call and said, we want you to go head out to Northern California in an hour. Are you kidding me? Can I wait till my car gets out of Jiffy Lube first? Sure. But get on the road. We'll send you the instructions as you're driving. We'll tell you where the hotel is. Get in your car and start driving. I pulled into the hotel, the Bear River Casino, at 1 a.m. This area in Northern California, Humboldt County. I don't know if that rings a bell with anybody. It's cannabis capital of the US. These guys are hard to reach, right? So 4-wheel drives are recommended. I had a station wagon, a 96 Ford Escort, and I drove it in first gear up these hills. I remember one case, it was 10 miles of a dirt road, and the GPS said that the location was off to the side about a quarter mile. So you gotta be kidding me, there's nothing out here. The satellite map showed that there was some property, there was something there in the woods. So I backtracked a mile, went down another little road, came to a gate, but there was a footpath around it. But the gate said no trespassing, deadly end. The census is allowed to walk past no trespassing signs. So I walked past it. And I walked and I walked and I walked, winding little road all the way to the top of this hill, and there's a cabin. So a guy, a shadow in the window, waved at him. The guy came out, made friends with his dog. Turned out he was from England, came over when he was 13, found out the property, the owner. I found out his wife, his mother-in-law, the gardener, got all the details. On my way back down the hill, I ran into the owner. I said, hey, hi, Nate, how you doing? He was not very pleased to see me. So I said, well, sir, terribly sorry to intrude on your property. He wanted me to confess that what I had done was morally reprehensible. He got out a piece of paper, started writing down details. Sir, if you want to call the police, that's okay with me. So no, let's not do that. Let me get my supervisor on the phone. So we had the supervisor on the phone, calmed down a little bit. And he said, look, the reason I'm upset is that last week we had a robbery on the property and the guy was shot dead. The next morning, I got another phone call from the regional office that said, how would you like to travel to Alabama? You need to be on a plane tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Got on the plane, flew to Atlanta, got a rental car, drove to Birmingham, Alabama, got into my hotel later that evening. I spent 3 days there in Birmingham, and there were some lovely neighborhoods. But one neighborhood in particular, Ansley, stuck out in my mind. Ansley used to be a steel town. It was in a state of disrepair. Every block had 2 or 3 houses crumbling. There was a school, 3-story school, hollowed out windows, roof had caved in, weeds growing everywhere. A scary looking place, right? And the notes that I had, things like vicious dog or own a slam door. One of them said that there was a decrepit building and the person wasn't interested. I showed up, There's a lady and a couple of guys washing a car. I said, do you know anything about this property? Not interested. I said, ma'am, do you know what no means? No means that you want the federal dollars to go to California. You don't want them to come here to Ansley to fix this. Let me tell you what. The way I see things, there's $1 trillion sitting on somebody's desk in Washington, D.C. And my job is to make sure that money gets to the right people. I got all the information that I need. Toastmasters came in very, very handy, let me tell you. Some takeaways from this: do your homework. No doesn't always mean no. Don't run from conflict, embrace it. And remember, we would not have a constitution today if it were not for conflict. Mr. Toastmaster.
One of the wonderful things about Toastmasters is that you are given immediate feedback after giving a prepared speech. Here's an example of one of those speech evaluations.
Several things I liked about Bob's speech. This is a conflict resolution speech, and your opening really got us, quote, "The country was born in conflict. That set us in the right direction to the path you were going." I like the attention to detail, not just driving a car up a hill, but it was a 96 Ford Escort. My sympathies in first gear going up a hill. You're just great at storytelling, and you have our attention when you tell a story and weave a story together. I think it comes natural, and I think you're at your best when you're just sitting back and just telling a great story and just letting your personality come through. Those are great things. And here's a couple things maybe to think about. Look at your background. I like the background, but in this day and age, you can have any background you want. You could have easily themed it towards some sort of census or some sort of travel or some sort of US Constitution or something like that. Minor thing, but something to think about. And then finally, I would like to have heard, why do we have a census? You touched on it at the end about $1 trillion and those things, but my quick understanding of a census is every 10 years we have one to redraw districting and make sure that we get proper representation. That's why we're bothering to do a census every 10 years. Now, one thing you've done great, and I would say a couple things. One is your enthusiasm and your determination. Your enthusiasm comes through because these are big deal. The census means some states may lose representation and some states may gain representation. And so I appreciate the enthusiasm and the determination that you have. And overall, thank you for a great speech.
To learn more about our club, please check out our other videos.